Now, most people are going to say no to that, right? Everybody could use a little bit more. But thanks to the high prices, tariffs, and economic uncertainty, a mass majority of Americans say no. Not surprising, right? A new study found by Bankrate found that 23% of Americans feel financially secure, while another 32% say they're not secure and never feel like they will be. As for how much people need to be secure, close to half put it at about $100,000 a year. By comparison, the average full-time worker made roughly $81,000 a year in 2023. Here now is friend of the show, financial expert, I call him expert, Andrew Poulos. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Good morning, Chesley. How are you?
All right, doing pretty good. You know, there's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now, especially when it comes to our finances. Is that the reason for this gloom in this survey?
Yeah, well, if you look overall, it certainly does not look good based on this survey. I think just Americans do not feel comfortable with how much they earn, but also how much they have left, really. I often say it's not what you have, what you earn, it's what you can save, right? And if you can't save and you're financially challenged, you're never going to feel secure.
Are we living just above our means? I mean, is that what it is? Like that figure that you heard me talk about, $100,000 a year, is that right on target? Or is that just, high hopes?
Look, I deal with all kinds of clientele, right, in my profession. So I see folks who live above their means. I see folks who are just basically barely surviving and trying to struggle. You can make $300,000 a year. The average person would say, hey, I'll take that and I'll feel financially secure. And that person could be living above their means. If they're living in a house that's an $800,000 or $900,000 mortgage, if their property taxes are $20,000, $30,000 a year, right? So ultimately, I think, yes, some of us may be living above our means. The lifestyle inflation is what we call it, right? We have the real inflation versus the lifestyle inflation. One thing that, as a society, that we often do is when we begin to earn more and sort of move up in life, right? The status quo, then we like to spend more. We feel like we can splurge, but the splurging never stops. So, and that really kind of sometimes creates part of our challenges.
What would you say is a realistic target for a household here in Atlanta?
Look, I think you're probably getting by if a household is making about $150 to $175. Because, while that sounds like a lot of money, you got to factor also the tax man. He's going to get his cut right off the top, right? So by the time you factor in taxes, federal, state, Social Security, Medicare, you're probably losing somewhere around a third of your money, if not a third, maybe about 25 to 30%, give or take. So you got to factor in for that. If you're probably a household, and it depends also how big the household is. Is it a household of just a husband and a wife? For example, two spouses? Do they have 2 children? Do they have 4 children, right? The more children you have, obviously, life gets more expensive. And you got to factor if they're younger children, daycare. So there's a lot to be said. So a single person making $150 might live more comfortably than a household of 4 or 5.
There is people in the study that said they'll probably never reach, feeling secure in their making of money. How do you advise your clients when they feel like they've fallen behind or they consistently can't make it to where they need to be?
Yeah, I tell them that something's got to change, right? First, I always recommend this is a perfect time, summertime, so mid-year financial wellness, right? Check and see how things are going. What debts do you have? What could be paid off? What's short-term debt versus long-term debt? Are you in debt with credit cards that could be perhaps rapidly paid off? Or do you have more long-term debt at lower interest rates? Then you also have to see pretty much what's going on. So do a wellness check. If you're the type of household where you're making $150,000, for example, and you're taking 2-3 summer vacations, that's probably biting into your budget. So you need to see where you can kind of cut back a little bit, perhaps, and use that money allocated somewhere else. So you're basically shifting money around. But just turning a blind eye and putting your head in the sand, so to speak, and never dealing with the problem is not going to get you anywhere.
So you sacrifice some of those vacations for those nice suits.
Yeah, the suit, the pocket square, the tie, I got to keep up with you. So it's a challenge, man. Look, I love that tie you're wearing today. That's a fabulous color. So I got to go shopping, and you're going to run me broke here.
No, I'm telling you, I know you got some in the closet that you keep on the side that you're trying to get rid of. Hook me up, man. Hook me up.
Look, man, I need your fashion designer.
My friend, take care. Thanks so much for joining us today.
We'll chat soon.
All right.